last night. You know this. She wasn't well.
No, that's not nice.
No, and we did the whole out of hours thing up to the hospital, and of course, before that, she's like death. You get out of the hospital, she's bouncing around. The doctor's like, "You mad? There's nothing wrong with this kid."
Yeah.
Any parent out there will tell you that's what the kids do. By the time you get to the hospital, life's great.
Yeah,
life is great.
But of course, if you don't leave the house, it's just nightmare the whole night.
It is a nightmare. It is a nightmare, and it always happens this time of year. Again, any parent will tell you this as well. This time of year, it's a nightmare. If you've young kids, they get sick, and because of the long, the dark days, it's just a nightmare because they get sick. She was sick last night at tea time. Yeah. She was sick right through to 6 this morning. It was like 12 hours, and I was on the sofa with her, and she was being sick all through the night. Just a nightmare. A nightmare. And it's so depressing. But you know what? Better this week than this time next week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least it's out of the way. So
it's good you view it like that. Nice little schedule, yeah.
But I think it might be excitement because she wasn't running a fever. There didn't seem to be anything particularly wrong with her. I think they're up to, as my mum would say, high dough.
Up to high dough.
Up to high dough. About slanty jaws and all this craziness. But it is exciting. I remember being a kid. I was excited as heck about it as well. And they don't want to go to bed at night. They're running around the night beating each other with pillows and cushions and all sorts of things. And we were like, downstairs being the responsible parents, go to bed or I'll kill you. That kind of thing.
Why don't you play the standard card this time of year? Right, you better behave, otherwise Santa's not bringing any presents.
Doesn't work.
Why not?
We see my wee fella would tell you something like, well, he must already have the presents, so we're good.
Well, no, he doesn't. Because the elves make them the night before.
I know, but he knows he's not going to get a bag of ashes.
Just 1 year, just to mess with them.
Give them a bag of ashes.
Yeah, because you've got those big Simpson stockings on the fireplace.
See,
bung them full of coal.
Do you know what happens then when you do that?
What?
15 years from now, when he's in prison for going up onto that clock tower and shooting 12 students,
right,
he'd be telling the doctors, the psychologists, about that day that Santa Claus brought him a bag of coal.
But you know what? You could do anything. You could open a bottle of Coke the wrong way. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden in 15 years' time, you're sitting going, oh, my dad opened a bottle of Coke the wrong way one day. That's why I'm mental. You know?
Right. Okay, what else? We'll see.
Stuff, things,
what's
occurrences.
Santa bringing you? What's your top 10 Christmas toys?
Yes, and collectibles.
And collectibles went on the site today. You were asking last week, somebody posted on we have our own little sort of nerd
FTN internal
notice board
thing
for the writers and staff of the FTN group, and somebody wrote on it about for the top 10 list, because there's no show next week because it's Boxing Night next
obviously
night. And
my dad's birthday as well.
Oh, aye, Christmas baby,
happy 73rd.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, and then the week after that we're going to come back and we're going to do a show which will be the first show of 2014, a review of the year.
Yeah.
And one of the things we're going to do on it is toys and collectibles, which is your
that's my area.
forte.
That's
your
my department.
area. This is what you do for Follow the Nerd. And of course for you have a YouTube channel.
Yes, for all the best. Which is what you should say, because then that deflates my ego a bit more.
Okay, for all the best. The greatest toy reviews on the internet. And video reviews and Doctor Who reviews and everything else. And they're brilliant. Where would people go to find that?
People would go to YouTube. And then we go to the little search bar at the top of YouTube, and they would type in Vote Saxon 07, VOTESAXON 07. They would press search, and they would find my channel. It's the one with the black square and the red or the white X in it.
Yes,
and that's my YouTube channel, Vote Saxon 07.
Okay. So somebody put on the board about what is the best toy that's not really a toy.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, you were like, what? And
I can't do that.
No, but I know what they mean. I mean, you did the sonic screwdriver remote control, universal remote.
Yes.
That's a toy. That's not a toy.
You think so? I still class that as a toy.
No, and the gauntlet from Assassin's Creed. That's a toy. It's not really a toy.
It's not a toy because it could kill someone.
So I think that's kind of what they're talking about.
Right. Okay.
So in that respect, you've done your top 10 toys.
I have, yes.
How did you come about that top 10?
I literally went on Forbidden Planet and just went through them. No, I didn't. I sort of asked around. I mean, like the Assassin's Creed thing came from Razzie of all people. Would you believe?
Okay.
Rachel Cinnamon, who works for the site as well occasionally. You know what I mean? I just sort of went around and I tried to get different things. I didn't want it's all going to be action figures, which is ironic because there's a Walter White figure in there and there's also the Black Series figures in there.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go for some kind of prop replicas, like or life size, careful, and like maybe board games, maybe various different things. And that's basically how I came up with it.
Okay. Now, there's some really nice items in there. I like
Yes,
that you
there
put the Han Solo ice cube trays in there.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. I wanted a little novelty gift, and I thought that would do it.
Yeah, no, so there's some really, really good stuff in there. And I can't really remember how I got to talking about that. Right, this is Shine 2.4 FM. You are following the nerd. I'm Mark.
I'm Saxon. You're listening to Following the Nerd. Santa Claus is making a list. He's checking it twice. He wants to find out who's naughty and who's nice. Of course, if you're nice, you'll get presents, and if you're naughty, you'll be killed and eaten.
Wow. All right.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I was actually going to record a load of promos for the show tonight, but I ran out of time. And that was the only one I came up with as well.
Right, okay.
You're listening to Following the Nerd. From all of us to all of you, we wish you the merriest of Christmases and the happiest of New Years. What's funny about that?
Nothing's great. Right, this is a little oddity. This was recorded. You remember a wee while back
How
we
the
had.
Grinch Stole Christmas.
There you go.
Yes,
Now you know
indeed,
what it is.
from Mr.
Jimmy Mac from the Force Cast, which is now Rebel Force Radio.
Indeed.
He was on the show. Now, this is something that James Arnold Taylor,
James Arnold Taylor, that's the man.
the voice actor, the chap that does Obi-Wan Kenobi in
Clone Wars.
in Clone Wars, and Corey Burton, who did Cad Bane and Zero the Hutt. They got together along with the guys from the Force Cast, and they did How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And they read it in the voices of Star Wars Clone Wars characters. Have you heard this before?
Yes, I have.
Have you? This is great. I love this. So I'm sure the guys in the Force Cast won't mind, but it's just such a great piece that it should be shared by fans of everything nerdy at Christmas time. So this is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, read by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Cad Bane.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Read by Obi-Wan Kenobi and friends. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be that his head wasn't screwed on quite right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find a way to keep Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew. All the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated besides flying. The noise, 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 Anakin! Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast! They would start on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. Oh, sorry. And the more the Grinch thought of the Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. And I have a bad feeling about this.
I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat. And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said,
Giddy up.
and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first house in the square,
This is stop number 1.
the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who's stockings all hung in a row.
These stockings
He grinned.
are the first things to go.
Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant round the whole room, and he took every present. Popguns and bicycles, lightsabers, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all of the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beef. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee.
And now,
Grinned the Grinch.
I will stuff up the tree.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned round fast and he saw a small Who. Little Zero Loo Who, who's not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this little hut squatter who'd gotten out of bed for a cold cup of water. He stared at the Grinch and said,
Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought of a lie and he thought it up quick.
Why, my sweet little tart.
The fake Santa Claus lied.
There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted his head, and he got him a drink and sent him to bed. And when Zero Loo Who went to bed with his cup, he went to the chimney, and he stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for the fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. 'Twas 1:15 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsels, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode to the tip-top to dump it.
Pooh-pooh to the Who's.
He was grinchiously humming.
They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then all the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise
Grinned the Grinch.
that I simply must hear.
So he paused, and the Grinch put a hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very! He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came, somehow or another. It came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours, till his puzzle was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought,
doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more.
and what happened then? Well, In Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day, and the minute his heart didn't quite feel so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself